Hello, everybody. This is David and Victoria Smith-Collins. We're here to talk to you about a program that I wrote over 10 years ago now, sometime after when I did my master's degree in coaching and mentoring at Wolverhampton University Business School. I was looking at how coaching philosophy, coaching and mentoring philosophy could be applied to weight management. And I put together a program which I trialed at the time and basically didn't exactly put away, but put on the back burner for many years. And over the last few weeks, decided to revisit the notes that I made at that time. And I'm here to talk to Victoria about the program. So Victoria, welcome.
Thank you so much, David. And yeah, I mean, I've heard you've mentioned about this program a few times before. And, you know, as somebody who has spent their lifetime with their weight going up and down with yo-yo diets, I'm really quite interested to know more about it and to see if I can commit to doing this program.
Well, I think that's very brave of you. I've run this program in the past with a number of groups and trialed it, and it was very successful. And I've also run it with individuals on a one-to-one basis since that time. So it's not as if I haven't touched this for about 10 years or so. I'm familiar with the techniques and the philosophy that's behind it. I've created a series of webinars, and I'd like to take you through those webinars. I think it's about 4 in total, and maybe we could revisit the materials together. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that sounds really great. I look forward to seeing it.
Okay, so let's have a look at the slides that I've created. Hopefully, people can actually revisit these slides as many times as they want, and hopefully I can take it stage by stage in terms of the philosophy of the program. So if you're ready, we'll start. Weight management. I called this originally the Sustainable Weight Alteration Program because it wasn't always designed to be aimed at people who wanted to lose weight. Because a lot of people, for whatever reason, have issues of being underweight. So what this program is about is for people who either may want to lose weight or put weight on to a more healthy self. And it is a coaching approach, although some of it is mentoring, some of it is advice. But I'd like to take you through the program slide by slide and hopefully stop me anytime if you want to just ask me any questions about it. Is that okay?
Excellent. Yeah, I look forward to it.
Okay, so let's go to slide 1. It's a busy slide. I apologize for that. But this is about just getting some general advice about how the program works and things that I would advise people to do at the beginning. The first thing, get a medical checkup if you can. This is really important, and lots of people don't do this for whatever reason. It's really important before you embark on a program of weight management is that you make sure that things are all right medically. So go and see your doctor or your practice nurse. That's something I would advise anybody to do at any stage. The second is don't rush this program. Take your time. There's enough pressure in the world without having another pressure in terms of a program to be completed. So I advise people to take their time and don't rush through the issues, the slides that we're going to be covering. And look at this as a series of small steps. And I always advise people to keep an action plan. That could be a hard copy document or an electronic copy document, just to keep a check of actions people commit to. And again, we'll revisit this in terms of the structure, but taking small steps, keeping an action plan, and keeping a focus on achievable goals. Take responsibility. At the end of the day, we've all got to take responsibility for what happens to us in life. You know, we can't go around blaming other people because we're not happy. You know, we make ourselves happy, we make ourselves sad. It's how we connect with things that happen in our environment, in our world. And it's the emotions that we connect in terms of those feelings can actually have some really significant impact on our eating. And that's one of the main planks of this particular program. So please take responsibility. It can work on a one-to-one basis, and obviously we're going to work on a one-to-one basis, but it's also good to find a group of people, if you're able to work with. When I did the early program pilots, we did get groups of people, 6 to 8 people at a time, to run through the program, and that gave a lot of mutual support, and everybody found that very, very useful. But again, if people can't find a group of people to work with, I'm going to make sure we put some structure in place to enable that to happen. But I'll cover that towards the end of this first webinar, if that's okay. Maintaining a reflective journal, as well as an action plan, is really important. So keeping a diary, keeping a reflective journal of some description where you can record your thinking, very important. So get yourself a journal. And stop worrying about what the future was going to hold. You know, none of us have got any impact or influence on what happens in the future. It's about being mindful, and mindful is about living for today. And again, probably on the second and third webinar, we'll talk about mindfulness as a concept connected with this program. And of course, you know, imagine we will have regrets about things that we've done or not done in the past. What I'm saying is try and let that emotion go. Having regrets is a very wasteful emotion. So almost like draw a line in the sand and say, from today, this is the start. This is day one of the rest of my life. Simple, really, but some advice before we even start. Is that okay?
Yeah, that looks really good. I'm feeling a bit scared at this point because it's
Well, don't.
a lot of
Look,
points, but let's see how that goes.
don't be scared at all. It's really easy, and a lot of the things are simple. But this diagram brings it all together, really, for what I'm talking about. Everybody has an authentic, healthy place in their life. Their weight, size, and shape. They have an authentic shape and size which is healthy for them. It's not necessarily what you see in a magazine or on social media. This is the authentic shape and size that we all have. Whether it be apple shape, pear shape, we all have this place to be. And we know when we're there, we know what it is just by the feelings that we have. Now, when we're at this place, say at point A on my graph, our body, through a process called homeostasis, actually keeps us there. So we get hungry or full, we have a feeling for to eat or not eat according to how we are feeling. And our body keeps us at this what we call checkpoint for our weight and size. Now, A is where we should be. Now, when we get a lot of stress, pressure, issues in our life, the stressors can either push this checkpoint high to what I've indicated here as B, or lower it to C. Now, when we're at B or C, the homeostasis can kick in and will keep us at that weight. The only way we can actually bring ourselves back to A is to reduce the stresses and pressures on our life. This is a big issue in terms of this program. And a lot of it is about stress management and about how we manage our emotions and breaking the connection between emotions and eating. So we might come back to this graph a bit later, but what we're trying to get to is A, your authentic weight, shape, and size, which is healthy for you both physically and mentally. And then once we're there, if we can maintain the stress-free life, we can forget about it because our body's homeostasis will take over and that'll do the rest. We don't have to even think about this again. This graph probably in our checkpoint is going to be very relevant. Now for me, when I know when I get stressed, I tend not to eat as much. I can lose weight when I'm stressed. Other people, when they're stressed, eat a little bit too much and put a few pounds on. What we've got to do is find where A is for each one of us and let our bodies take over at that point to maintain it, hence the sustainable part of this program. Any questions on the graph?
So, I mean, how do you know when you're at point A? I mean, what kind of indicators
we feel it.
suggest that you know that you're
Absolutely.
at point A?
It's a place that we have been in our life where we feel really good, where we feel really good about ourselves, where our self-esteem and self-confidence is high, where we feel confident to be able to go out and not worry about what we look like or what other people are thinking about us or even what we're thinking about ourselves. It's that place that you almost know it, you feel it, it's the right place to be. And one of the things that I try and get people to do is actually evoke that thinking, that thought, that place in their mind. Remember the times that they were in that place and try and connect to those positive emotions. So again, we'll come back to how we know about that a little later, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so whilst we're setting the scene here a little bit more, I'd like to just go, what now? What do we do next? Well, no more diets. From today onwards, no more diets. Diets do not work for anybody. You must be eating 3 meals minimum a day. The minute you miss one meal, whether it's through a diet or just a missed opportunity, what you're actually saying to the deep-seated hunter-gatherer psychology that we all have is that famine is a potential. Now, your body's response to famine is to store fat, to store food. So the next time you eat after missing just one meal, you're going to start storing reserves of energy in the form of fat in your body. So please, no more diets from today. You know they don't work. You know they're not sustainable anyway. So we must get in a regime of eating food, regular food, when we're hungry. Second, this is going to be a self-maintaining program, okay? But it's going to take time to get to this place. It is sustainable. We know that when you get to that point A, your body will actually check in and make sure that checkpoint remains consistent through homeostasis. And of course, it's a self-help approach, okay? So don't look for drastic weight loss or weight gain. That is not healthy for anybody. We need to do this progressively and sensibly. Those are the starting points, really, to this program. So let's move on a little bit. The general advice I'd give to anybody, just follow the advice. Now, I've presented these as hacks or pointers, really, but I'm not telling anybody what to do. Some of these things will work for you, some of them won't. Try everything and adopt the program, make it bespoke to you. And that's why it's important to keep the action log and the reflective journal going, because you'll know when things are working, and those are the things we've got to hang on to. Second, when you've seen all these webinars, there's no sequential requirement to follow advice 1, advice 2. You can start at the back and work forward. It doesn't really matter. The program is there to make it's got to be made specific to you and your requirements. So once you've been through all the webinars and seen all the hacks, all the advice, create the plan that will actually work for you and have the best effect. So taking your time is really important. And that mindful approach is going to come back. We're going to come back to that time and time again. And it's okay saying to people, be happy, be mindful. But what we're going to do is actually show you some real techniques that any of us can use very easily to actually sustain a mindful approach to our work. Now, it's about the relationship we have with food. We create those B and C positions because of our emotional connection. And sometimes we eat food as a reward or as a punishment. And sometimes it's a subconscious thing that's going on. We're not even mindful of it. We've got to find out our relationship with food and deal with that. And that's what this program is going to be all about. So, in summary, let's have a look at what we've got here. Dip in, dip out, but commit to the program, please, and complete all the hacks within a reasonable period of time without being too focused on completing it quickly. In my experience, 6 months is the average time the groups that I've worked with, the individuals I've worked with before, have taken to find the success they've been looking for. 6 months sounds a long time. It's not, but it's a progressive way of actually adopting and developing this program for a personal approach. It will be rewarding. All the way through, you'll find the small successes will be so emotionally satisfying to you. I guarantee that. And it will increase your self-confidence and self-esteem. Now, I'm not saying you've got a problem with that anyway to start with, but we can all benefit from an increase in self-confidence and self-esteem. I think you'll agree with me. Now, one of the things that it will do, it will improve your physical health. Being your authentic shape and size is going to be good for you. It's where you're healthy. It's where you are the fittest. It's where you're going to be the most resilient to illness. But it's also about your mental health as well. That fragile thing that's so important to all of us, mental health and well-being. So we've got to maintain a check on our health, listen to our body again. And I know I keep going on about it, but don't be a stranger to your doctor or your practice nurse, because there's two things really, the two things that will kill any of us if we don't check them. And we can't just tell from our feelings about these. One is blood pressure and one is cholesterol. These things have to be checked properly. Now you can get a blood pressure gauge and check it yourself and follow the instructions. That's the easiest way. But you know, if you've got high or low blood pressure, you won't feel a problem, but it could be there and it's a silent killer. And cholesterol, my advice is to anybody, just get it checked. You know, once or twice a year is enough. And just to keep an eye on these things, really, really important. I can't emphasize that enough. Now you're going to see this, this checklist. What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? Where are you going to do it? Who are you going to do it with? And how's it going to look for you? And what is the success you're going to actually plan to achieve? So we're going to come across this a lot. And I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions around this. So I'm warning you really, this is the end almost of the program, sort of like introduction. But I'm going to put you on the spot here, if that's okay, Victoria. I mean, so, from what I've said already in this short period of time on the first webinar, can you answer any of these questions?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as I mentioned before, I'm the kind of person, I've spent my life kind of with yo-yo diets, weight gain, weight loss, even up until recently, having 3 children. With every child I was gaining weight and then doing diets and losing weight, and even up until, I mean, the last time I did a diet, honestly speaking, was a couple of months ago, and what I find is that I do these kind of strict diets, and they work at the time. I lose weight, but unfortunately they kind of encourage me to binge, because once I finish, I don't have control actually over what I'm eating, or maybe my lifestyle to some extent as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. There are a couple of things. I mean, you're mentioning that you see this as a long-term process. I think this is probably something a little bit different for dieters as such, because we like to see quick gains. It's like within a month I want to lose this many pounds or whatever. So to see it as a lifestyle and a kind of that you're in it for the long term is something that's quite interesting. To have as I mentioned, the issue that I've always had is just maintaining that lifestyle or that balance. Until now, I mean, I'm 44 years old, but I haven't actually really achieved it. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit to this. I'm doing it online on our webinar, which is a bit of a risk, but I think that I'm ready for that, and I'm going to commit to the elements of this program. Obviously, this will need support, and the coaching methodology, I think, is going to be really helpful with that. Well, when's it going to happen? It's going to start from now, but it's going to go on. It's going to be permanent, a lifestyle thing, actually. Where? Well, it's happening right here and right now, actually. And how I'm going to do it? I'm going to do it by committing to it and following the hacks that you're giving. And I'm actually starting by doing a food mood diary, where I'm kind of noting down. I do like to note down what I eat, because it kind of makes me mindful of what I'm eating. But my moods around the day, around what I'm eating and how I'm feeling through the day, and how I feel in the evening when I sit down at night and I just want to eat those pieces of chocolate. And I guess that kind of could be okay, but I've got to change my mindset around it, actually. It's not a punishment, and it's not something that you do when you're happy, or, the emotion attached to it is a difficult thing, actually. And who? Well, I'm doing this with you, but I'm doing it with anyone else who would like to join me along this journey. So, please get in touch and let's do this together, because I think the more of us along this, who can do this along this journey, we can have that support together.
Okay, well, on that point, I mean, I'm going to give my personal email address here. Anybody that wants to actually join in on this, anybody that wants to contribute, anybody that wants to ask any advice, there it is, personal email, come straight through, get in touch. And of course, our website is always available for anybody who wants to have a look at the other things that we do in our business. That's the invitation. This is free. This is available to anybody that wants to actually take part. We're really happy to engage with anybody along the way. And if you have any questions, anything at all that you want to talk to us about, there's the email address. I can't give it any more straightforward than that. We're here, we're accessible, and we're happy to hear from you. So thanks for completing webinar number 1. I'll see you on the other side at webinar number 2. I can't shut it off.
You just stop the recording.
Bye.